As we venture into the second part of our anime journey, let's see what is going to happen in this part.
And thus trapping him under the lake, which will be frozen for at least 5 days. So say goodbye to my man Shibusawa. Nana has now eliminated 2 targets, but her only problem was the new boy Kyoya, who's already starting to suspect Nana, and already has some kind of idea of what's going on here. It turns out that they might be the same in some ways, or he might be even smarter, but she still needs to find out his real talent. So she takes it upon herself to do any means necessary to reveal Kyoya's powers so that she can figure out a way to dispose of him as soon as possible. She needs to know more about him, so she begins to follow him around school. By doing this, she discovers he had been feeding a kitten in the janitor's shed, and he always buys a box of milk, which he heats up and feeds it to the stray cat every day at lunch. Later on, Nana approaches him again under the context of wanting to be his friend, and so he invites her into his room, which seems to look more like a library instead of a normal boy's bedroom. However, he does leave Nana a lot of different clues, which she can use to start understanding his secret power. After looking around his room, she deducts that one of Kyoya's weaknesses was that he has no sense of smell, as he seems to keep labels on all his food and groceries, and these labels also have the expiry dates on them, so she can also predict that Kyoya can't see color, and his vision is permanently in black and white. After some brief deduction, the two of them start playing video games together, and he reveals that he has a younger sister, who was also a talented one and was sent to this island. However, he never heard from her ever again, so his goal on the island, other than studying the enemies of humanity, is to also find out what happened to his younger sister, and he thinks that whatever happened to Nakajima will lead him to finding out the answers. Kyoya asks Nana to accompany him over to Nakajima's crime scene, and also interrogates her once again. She doesn't understand why he's being so hostile, and she wants him to reveal more about himself since he's so mysterious, and she makes up an excuse that he's scaring her. So this time Nana asks him what his real talent is, but Kyoya gets the upper hand and begins to doubt if she is really talented and can read people's minds, since Kyoya's talent is all he's ever thinking about. But somehow she still doesn't know what it is. But since Kyoya doesn't have enough evidence that she isn't talented, or any proof that she was involved in Nakajima's disappearance that night, he can't incriminate her yet, so he just lets it all go for now, and then asks Nana if they should become friends, and she agrees. The next day, Nana prepares a trap on Kyoya, after knowing his daily routines of feeding the cat during his lunch break, and she turns on the gas inside the shed. She does it in such a way that when he turns on the stove, the whole shed would explode, which would be a great way to reveal his talent. When Kyoya enters the shed, he can't smell anything, and he turns on the stove so the whole shed explodes, and Kyoya is seen completely burned alive and on the floor. Pretending to be innocent, Nana approaches the burnt corpse of Kyoya and yells out to him, saying she will send for help. But to her surprise, a half-dead Kyoya grabs Nana's leg, which finally reveals his power, which is immortality. So no matter what anyone tries to do to him, killing him is impossible, and because she was the first to arrive to the scene, he now thinks she's the enemy of humanity. But right after, Kyoya admits he took things way too far, and he calms down and now has a different mindset, and thinks maybe Nana is really only trying to help him, and he comes back to realization, then apologizes to Nana and says he hopes they can still be friends for now. Nana can't have Kyoya thinking of her as the main culprit, so she devises a plan to remove herself from suspicion. Later on that day, Nana ends up meeting a kind-hearted girl called Michiru, who's a somewhat clumsy girl, but she's way too kind of a person. Her ability consists of healing anyone right on the spot, just by simply using her saliva. She gets closer with Michiru by helping her with the class bullies, and they become really good friends. However, she only does this as she needs Michiru for her next plan. During the night, Nana decides to stab her own back. After, Michiru screams loudly, and Kyoya meets them at the scene of the crime. Nana, who had been stabbed, done this knowing that Michiru would save her. When asked who done this to her, Nana tells them it was an enemy of humanity's doing, and that the enemies of humanity can also turn invisible. But after hearing her story, Kyoya still doesn't believe her, and already suspects that she may have stabbed herself. But once again, he tells himself that he's only guessing with his detective skills, and has no real hard evidence that Nana actually done this to herself. The next day during class, they conclude Nakajima was killed by an enemy of humanity, and therefore they need to select a new class rep. Nana gains the confidence of the class for being brave enough to face an enemy of humanity, and surviving one, so they decide to make her the new class leader. Her first command as the class leader was to order a specific student to find out more about the other students and start writing down everyone's abilities. Her brilliant excuse for this was that they need to prepare everyone for the upcoming attack, and makes up a reason that the monsters are already on the island. However, this backfires when after school she runs into a boy called Tsunakichi, who shows her a photo of what's about to happen to them in the next few hours. He reveals how he has the power to see into the future and asks Nana to explain herself. He tells Nana that his photographs are from the future, and while he's dreaming, photos are being captured into 5 photographs at a time. And they will tell him the future, which is something that is 100% going to happen without a doubt, as his power never fails to tell the future. Tsunakichi has been taking photos ever since she arrived, and reveals how he knows about her killing Nakajima, and he also knows about her trapping Shibusawa, the teleport time travel boy, under the lake. So now, knowing that he's going to be killed by Nana next, he decides to blackmail her by saying he is going to tell the others about her being the real enemy of humanity. However, in exchange for his silence, he asks if she will be his girlfriend, and then takes her back to his room. He makes her give him a massage and spend the night with him. At that moment, she observes how his power works within the photos as he's dreaming, and she finds one picture that she doesn't want him to see, so she hides it away. The next day, when Tsunakichi wakes up, he realizes there are only 4 photos here, so one photograph is missing, since he can only take a maximum of 5 photos at a time, something that Nana didn't know about, and he blames her for taking it. He finds the photo in Nana's pocket, and the photo in question revealed how Tsunakichi actually won the fight between him and Nana stole the photo because she wanted him to feel like she was the one with all the power to get the upper hand on him. He tells her that no matter what, everything will happen exactly as he predicted in the photos. So the next day at 10 p.m., they both meet at the rendezvous in the shed. This is the exact time the photo took place, and to change the fate of the photos, she had some poisonous needles in her back pocket and threw them on the floor 5 minutes before he arrived. She then grabs the rope and everything happens as they did in the photos, but when he is about to take advantage of her, she falls on the floor directly next to the needles and uses them to attack Tsunakichi. After he's dying, she reveals that she hid the real 5th picture, and it turns out that the image in which she seemed like she was dead wasn't actually real, but it was a photo that had been taken by Nana herself, and she hid it on her as she knew he would find it, and then think that that's what really happened. She simply used a fake photo in order to deceive Tsunakichi, and the real photo that he took in his dreams was actually him dead on the floor, with Kyoya bursting through the door, which is going to happen any second now. Kyoya explains that he found out about them being together because Tsunakichi had been going around telling everyone that Nana was now his girlfriend, and he was acting very strange. Michiru thought Nana might have been in trouble, and this aroused Kyoya's interest, and together they inspected Tsunakichi's room. In there they found the photo of Nana, dead on the floor with Tsunakichi standing over her, and that's how they knew about the location they would be at, since Kyoya recognized the PE shed. Later on, Kyoya finds Nana back in Tsunakichi's room after he had passed away, so he confronts Nana about Tsunakichi's powers, as Kyoya knows that whatever happens in Tsunakichi's photos will 100% always come true, something that Tsunakichi constantly bragged about. But somehow, Nana is still alive. All of this led to Kyoya deducting that the photo was in fact a fake one, and had maybe been taken by Nana herself, to manipulate Tsunakichi and make him lower his guard at a specific time, so Nana could win in the fight against him. But once again, Kyoya was only speculating all this inside his head, and still has no real evidence of this being true, and still has nothing to prove his theories right now, so once again he just lets her go. However, Kyoya does suspect Nana is playing everyone, and now needs to find proof that Nana is up to something, so he can tell the rest of the class. Everyone had left the PE shed, except from Michiru, who was still trying to bring Tsunakichi back to life with her healing powers. While doing so, she felt something under his jacket and takes it out just as the ominous-looking Nana enters the room. Michiru glimpses at the photograph of Tsunakichi's future vision of Nana pushing Nakajima off the cliff. However, the kind-hearted Michiru has too much admiration for Nana, and she believes it when Nana tells her that Tsukunishi cannot always predict the correct future, and that it might have only been one of his dreams and the photograph is incorrect. The day of Tsukunishi's funeral is here and tensions are rising as it has been told that the enemies of humanity are closing in on them. Kyoya demands that before they dispose of the body, he wants to do an autopsy, while Nana does everything she can to prevent it. Just as Kyoya is about to open the casket, it starts to open up from inside by Tsukanishi's corpse. This is when a quiet and usually absent boy in class steps in front and introduces himself as a necromancer. He tells the class his talent is to bring the dead back to life and even gain information of their death, and even use the corpse's powers if he wishes to do so. In a desperate attempt to stop all this, Nana announces that she can hear Tsukanishi's thoughts while he's a zombie, and he's in so much agony and wishes to rest in peace. It is then settled that they perform the more respectable approach of doing the autopsy. That same night, Nana trails Shinji, marking him as her next target since his talents in reanimating the dead is a big problem for her mission, as it could incriminate her if the people Shinji brings back are investigated by the necromancer. She discovers that Shinji has a relationship with Yuka, a girl in the class with superhuman strength.
Stay tuned to our channel as we continue to delve into this captivating world of anime. See you in the next recap.